Welcome to the Nitty Gritty. I don't even know what number this is anymore. 32? Wow, Carl Malone. That's the episode, and it's a big one. We have a special person that has a K in her name.
Yeah, special
So
K.
that's kind of like Carl Malone.
Special K, here we are.
We just got a new name.
So we're sitting down with Kate Call, a.k.a.
Hey.
Late with Kate, right?
Yep.
Isn't
Late
it funny?
today
How
for the
many people
podcast,
do you
actually.
have to introduce yourself like, oh, my name's Kate. Like, oh, I know you. I'm Late with Kate.
Yep.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep. I should just rebrand or just change my name to Late with Kate.
That's
how
so
people know
funny.
me.
It's
the whole thing.
so true. We're learning through the podcast that the Instagram handle is basically your new name.
I know. I
people.
probably should have thought more about that when I was naming my Instagram.
You should have done like Call Girl Kate or something. Like that's
Yes.
your last name.
Yes. Late call girl.
Late night calls with Kate.
Yes.
So when you introduce yourself, do you ever introduce yourself as Late with Kate?
No, never.
Never.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, just kitty cat Kate Call. Okay.
I told you this is going to be fun. Oh man. Okay. So let's start with how I got to I didn't get to know you here, but this is where I was introduced to you. So it was about 2 years ago. I want to say 2 years ago. Maybe it hasn't been quite that long, but my wife showed me a video.
Uh-oh.
Now, I'll be honest. Generally, sometimes I struggle with Instagram accounts, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know if you're getting the real person. But when I saw this video that I'm about to describe,
Oh no.
there was listen, fireworks went off. I was just like, this is a real person.
It was a
and
magical
this is
moment.
really
Oh.
this person. And what I can say 2 years later, after spending some time with you and getting to know you through Kim White,
Yeah.
is that it is the real person. Like
Oh, you're
Kate
nice.
Call is Late with Kate and vice versa. This is like, there's no difference between, which is an awesome thing. So it was the spider video.
Oh.
What-
Why did you even have to go there? I literally have chills all over my body. My leg hair just grew 14 inches. So bad.
You used a filter of some kind, and she was telling the story of like Jeremy wasn't home, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was out of town, and you had smacked a spider, a big spider that ended up having hundreds of babies on its
I have
back, and
chills
they just
everywhere.
went everywhere. If you can find the video, I'll try to scroll through it during the episode to find the date of the video, because if that can be your first introduction to Late with Kate, you'll thank me.
Oh,
I mean,
my
there's so
gosh.
many good videos between the dancing, the deals. What else can we say?
Yeah, what else can we say?
Her
It's hard
pajamas
to
and
describe.
slippers. Like, she's got some awesome stuff. She's about to launch a 4XL line for me. 4 extra large tall onesies.
Yep.
Yes. Just for you, Cam.
With the
She's
flap.
going to beat Freshly Picked. I've been asking for size 15 mocks for about 4 years. from
Can you
Susan.
even imagine how those would look?
She won't do it.
Yeah, it
I was
would
like,
take
I
like
want
4
bright
cowhides.
green. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, listen, I use a lot of cows in here. Okay, I
That's
should have
true.
some mocks, but she always says, if I make them, then you won't need me anymore.
That is true.
So she holds them over
Touche.
my head. So anyway, that was my first intro to Kate, and I guess it's been about a year and a half later. I show up at your house with
Oh,
Kim
yeah.
White before your guys'
Bike race.
bike race,
Yep.
right? And I got to meet you and Jeremy and hang out, and it did not disappoint.
Oh, wow.
Not for 1 minute.
conversation
I
will
laughed
definitely-
so hard for 4 straight hours.
We need Jeremy here so we can recreate
Yeah,
some of
though,
those conversations.
That will be told by Jeremy or not at all, because that's
Her
not.
and Jeremy have a pretty great chemistry, and you see it in the videos,
Yeah.
but it's there in real life too. So, and you have 4 beautiful daughters, right?
Yeah, it was crazy town.
Jeremy I'm proud that he's still kind of a manly man.
Oh, yeah, he's
There's
held
a
on.
lot of estrogen in that house.
Our girls always complain about how much football's on TV. Again, Dad? I'm like, well, let him have his space. You know, he's got makeup everywhere.
He's got makeup everywhere.
He's watching football while he's getting a Manning and a Petty from
No,
Mama's
honestly,
Daughters.
though, yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
He takes full advantage of that, too. You can stay up for 20 more minutes if you rub my feet.
Oh, that's Jenna. Jenna is playing with her hair. And Cash, my oldest, has learned it, so he knows how to completely manipulate it. So, hey, it's bedtime.
Totally.
And Cash goes, Mom, do you want me to play with your hair? And like an hour and a half later, I'm looking over. I'm like, Jen.
Here we are still.
And she's like, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
And I don't even care.
That's going to serve him well later in life.
Totally.
Right?
For sure.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here because
Excited.
you've got lots of good stories.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
When did Late with Kate start? Like, what was the origin? That's the right word.
So it actually just started as a private account. I was private. And when I had my third baby, I was just up all night nursing my baby and bored, nobody to talk to. What are you laughing about?
I shouldn't be looking at your Instagram account while we're talking. Look at this.
The swimsuit? Yeah. Oh, we'll get to the swimsuits for sure. We're going to get to the swimsuits.
I'm sorry,
my
Kate.
gosh.
I'm sorry.
The hairy man swimming suit.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Personal favorite. So I just started posting stuff that made me laugh, mostly just to keep myself company at night in the middle of the night. So my close friends were following it and they would comment and like, you should make this public. This is funny. So I made it public and I actually had another business account at the time and I was getting way more interaction on stop Cam. I was getting way more interaction on
I can't find this spider. I'm sorry, you guys. I just saw one that I've never seen.
What is it?
The one with the gym or the abductor. You like never make eye contact while using
is that
this
the worst
machine.
machine?
Oh.
Like literally, you have to look down the whole time you're using that. Spread your legs, close them together. Spread them, close them.
Just be like, hi.
But it's always right in the middle of the gym too. It's never like in a corner.
They
It's
need to
always
face it
like
toward a wall
right in the middle.
It needs to be
in a
behind a-
private room.
Yeah, it needs to be behind a curtain.
Totally.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't find the Late with Kate spider video. I'm sorry.
Squirrel.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
I
coming
love
back.
Find
the
it
spider
after.
video. Is the one that comes to your mind too.
Oh,
That's funny
it was
because
just the first one.
there's so much more inappropriate stuff that's funnier
totally.
than
It's not. It was just the first one.
Yeah.
And it was so funny, and it's
Oh.
still funny. Like I've watched that 40 times.
Oh, it's the worst.
Anyway,
It's the
okay.
worst.
I apologize.
So you're
No,
doing
you're good.
videos after your baby was born,
Yeah, and
and
so
at this time was Instagram. When was this? How long ago?
she was born in 2014. So it was probably closer to 2015. So like 5 years.
And at that time, was Instagram getting to what it is now, as far as like influencers and audiences and all that kind of stuff?
No way. I feel like I started when it was really, really new. I didn't even know what I was doing. Honestly, like I didn't know who was watching. I didn't get the whole concept of it. And I had no idea like the foundation I was building. It really just started on accident. I wasn't in it for the numbers or to monetize on it. It was really just to make people laugh and to keep my mind off of going insane raising 3 girls at the time. You know what I mean?
But you said you had a business account too, so
Yeah,
you'd already done a business?
Yes, I was doing a business at the same time, but still it was mostly like how we were getting followers then was giveaways and just scrappy stuff, you know, because it was so new.
What was the business?
It was a baby shoe, women's accessory, what every other person in Utah does.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
Stop.
No, really though. So my husband was in law school and we needed money for sure. So I was a hygienist 1 day a week and it's just so boring. Like I love that I went to dental hygiene school, but I'd come home from work. I'm like, I am in people's mouths all day long and they can't even talk back to me. I'm
That's
one of
the
those
worst.
annoying hygienists.
It's the worst in the whole world.
No,
when
it
they're
really
talking
is.
to you, like, how are you today? He's like,
Yeah. Can you imagine me as a hygienist too? I'm like asking them questions the whole time. They're like, let's wrap this up. They can't even answer me. So it was so not fulfilling and like no outlet, like creative outlet. So I just started making, like I cut up a leather skirt that I had for like 10 years and made 4 pairs of baby shoes and posted them on my personal Instagram
How did
account.
you have any idea, desire, thought to do that?
I mean, I'd seen other people do it.
Okay.
I think that's kind of how everything evolves a little bit. You
For
see it
sure.
and you're like, oh, I can do that.
Put your own
I got
spin on
that.
things.
Yeah.
That's my favorite comment of all time. I can do that.
Yeah.
Every single person that's come on, that's kind of been like the common thread. They'll see something, it just goes, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, I think it's really rare that you come up with something that's never been done before. It's just taking your own spin on it and running with it and sticking with it.
Well, and technically that is something that's never been done before because, you know, we all have our own unique view or perspective. And so if you change something a little bit, because, yeah, not very many people reinvent the wheel.
Right.
But they put a spin on it that makes the wheel maybe appeal to some different people.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So just baby shoes, women's headbands. I actually did create like a brand new women's headband. It had wire in it so you could twist it around your head. It was really comfortable. Oh my gosh, that brings me to a story I've never told before, and I'm sweating.
Tell it. I'll turn on the fan. Go ahead and tell it.
So I made these headbands, and it was kind of on accident because I had 2 girls at the time. And headbands would always fall off or they'd hurt their heads. So I'm going to put a wire in there so that you can adjust how tight. Anyway, so they went crazy. Like people went crazy over them. I was sewing like thousands of them by myself in my house, shipping them all by myself.
You're making them all by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Initially I was making them all, thousands of them. Jeremy was turning them inside out for me. We're shoving wires in after he's done with law school. And then I hired a couple of people that were just in my neighborhood. But so it got so like, I thought it was such a genius idea that I applied to Shark Tank in 2015. And I just remember I am a hygienist. I have no business background at all. Zero.
Right.
I don't know business words.
I don't know business words.
No, you're going to die. So I applied to Shark Tank like totally on a whim. I'm like, they're never going to call. I'm just feeling awesome about myself selling a couple thousand headbands. And they called me like 2 months after after I applied. So I'm doing this phone interview, and right when they said, hi, blah, 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 this is Shark Tank, like my mind went completely blank. I'm like, I don't even know what my name is. So they're like, we want to do a phone interview with you because that's how you move to the next level or the next phase or whatever. I'm like, oh, great. So they started talking to me about like, you guys are going to want me to walk out. They wanted to know.
Listen.
I wish Jeremy was here so bad. This is his favorite story because he is like a business guy. He wasn't home. So they start asking me like how much money I want to ask from the Sharks. Literally no idea.
I just love Mark Cuban.
I didn't even know his name. I didn't even know the Sharks.
Had you ever even watched an episode?
Yeah, I had.
Okay.
For sure. But I didn't really think that I had ever like internalized what I would actually say.
Yeah.
If I were to ever be asked. I wasn't prepared for it at all. So they asked me about how much money I would want to ask from the ask for them Sharks, and I'm like 20. That's what I said. And she's like, 1,000? I'm like, oh no, more than that. So I said 100,000 because I was kind of coming with. And so she's like, okay, $100,000, and how much equity would you want to give up for that? Equity? Coming in?
Like horses?
Seriously, I had no idea what they meant. I know that sounds so
Equity?
dumb, but literally, like, I'm fairly young at the time and a hygienist. So that's when I'm like 30. Like, I'm not using percentages or
Did
numbers.
I catch a niner in there?
Totally. And she's like, so 30%, you need $100,000 for 30%. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I need to call my husband.
Oh, no.
No, it gets worse. I'm sweating. And she's like, okay, so if you got $100,000 from the Sharks, what would you do with that money?
Oh.
Guess what I would do with that money?
Like go to Tahiti?
I'd go to Target.
No, it's not that bad. Jeremy died. I called him right after, and he's like, you didn't. Change your name. Change your name right now.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's like, so she's like, what would you do with the money if you got $100,000 from the Sharks? I'm like, well, probably pay off my husband's student loan.
Oh, my God.
That's like the most honest answer anyone's
This
ever
isn't the
given.
lottery.
Oh, I literally like feel like I'm going to pass out every time I talk about that story. So I called him right after, and he asked how it went. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe pretty good. So he asked me some of the questions, and he's like,
When you answered, like, did you have any idea if it was a good or a bad answer?
no, never. No. I was so naive going into it.
Yeah.
It makes me sound so dumb.
It doesn't, because here's the thing. They don't teach that anywhere. So
No,
even
they
if
don't.
even if you would have been like a business major,
Yeah.
they really don't talk about any of
See,
that
I would
kind
have
of stuff.
Right. I would have wanted you on the show with those answers. Like, this could be fun. We could use it as a way to teach the audience these words and
it's
help
like,
her with her business.
well, like Shelly from Raising Wild.
Right.
I remember she got to Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban asked her a question, like, how big is the market? And she just goes, huge.
Yes.
That was on the show.
Huge.
And Mark Cuban goes, huge is not
Huge.
a number.
Like, well, Donald Trump thinks it is.
Yeah,
Huge.
that sounds just
Yep.
like Trump.
He says
Totally.
It's going to be
so
huge.
funny.
Anyway, so not my proudest moment, but
a great
I had
story.
a chance to redeem myself 5 years later.
We'll title that story Equity.
It's so bad.
That's
We're
a
going to
great
work
story.
equity
But see, look
into-
how that's
it really
part
is part
of
of
the
my
process.
story. It really is part of my story.
Let's make sure because that's something I want to hit on.
Right.
Like the fact that you went from not knowing what equity is, like redeeming
believe it?
yourself.
I love it.
It's
And it's not as
so
bad as you
embarrassing.
think.
It's
it
not
really
at all.
isn't.
It
Really?
No.
You're a businesswoman now, and that's why you think it's so bad. But
and because of my husband,
I think
his
you
reaction.
would be surprised at how many people don't know what that means if you don't watch a show like Shark Tank.
Right.
Because like Andrew said, nobody teaches that stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff.
And to get the concept of what you do with money when you get it from an investor.
Right.
Like it's really stuff that
Paying
you don't
off
think
student
about as
loans seems legit to me. I mean,
it's like the
get
most
rid of
honest
debt.
answer they've probably ever had.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'll get a free lawyer out of this.
And there was like crickets after I said it. She's like, oh, okay, I gotta go.
It could have
I
been
don't have time
so
for
much
this.
worse. You could have said like, well, first Bora Bora, second
I actually should have.
student loan, and third sushi.
Or it's like
It felt like the same thing. It felt like that's where I was going to. Yeah.
Oh man.
Pay off
So-
student loans, and if we have extra,
How long did that business go for then? Like how much longer did you continue to make the headbands?
that was
and
the very
everything?
beginning of it. Honestly,
Okay.
like it was going well, and then it just got better from there. So I started doing baby shoes, and then had them I was making them myself, and then I hired somebody to do it locally, and then I found a manufacturer in Mexico.
Okay, how? Because let's rewind.
Yeah.
You just didn't know what equity meant, but yet you know how to find a manufacturer in Mexico. You know how to make shoes by yourself, how to find the material, how
Yeah.
to market them, how to sell them. So
Dental
let's-
hygienists aren't
Yeah.
dumb people either. Like
yeah,
that's not
it's just
exactly
a different.
the
It's a mind
easiest
shift
thing
for
to
sure.
do.
Yeah.
It's definitely
So
a
how
mind
did you
shift.
get there?
Everything that you just said it was like so. It was a huge step. Like you just named every single step that I did. So with the baby shoes, I just looked up a pattern online and cut up my skirt and made shoes with it.
Was your mom glad that you cut that skirt up?
Totally.
There's a reason you only made 4 pairs of baby shoes out of it.
Totally. So I just taught myself the how to make baby shoes, and then the wire headband just kind of came to me in the middle of the night. I was like thinking of stuff just to make money. It was really not about like this is my passion. It was like how to make money to pay for Jeremy's school,
Right.
and so I can shop while he's in school.
So I can go to Target.
No, really though, it really sustained my Target issue through law school.
Target, man, they've got it down.
For real, that
We
is
need
like
to interview someone from
Mama
there.
Mecca.
It's like, hey, we want to learn about all these powerful women that we're talking to, and you guys have manipulated them really
Every
good.
single-
Like
you're-
you've
you're-
sucked them all in.
You're responsible for every one of them.
Really, they all say like, we need Target money.
Susan,
Seriously.
Jenna, you. It's all been the same thing.
Jenna
I
was-
wanted to go to Target and buy something.
No,
That's why I
honestly,
started my
it's
business.
like therapy. It really is. Like I don't know what it is about there,
what
but you
about
walk
Target?
in.
What is it about Target over
I think that's just
any
kind of,
other store?
I think
Kohl's
it's become. I
or
think it's been a
Walmart?
community too. I don't know what it is, but it's like I think because everybody loves it so much and we all talk about it so much that it's like a safe place. You walk in there, like Sadie talks about yoga, and all uses all her words. I'm like, I walk into Target and that's my yoga. I'm like, yeah, here I am. Take a deep breath. This is my Zen.
Kate finds
Game on.
spirituality inside of Target.
It is sacred ground.
It's true.
Totally.
If you're a dude that is single,
Hey, it's like me walking.
go get a job at Target.
Hey, it's
Except
like me
it's
walking
all
into the
moms.
Nike store.
Well, yeah, but there's some divorced moms in there, I'm sure.
That is very actually
So
true.
just, you might get some kids out of the deal, but hey,
Bonus. Bonus.
So how are you growing your business account though at that time when it was still new? I mean, you talked about giveaways, but like what types of things were you doing? And did you know that that's how you needed to grow?
Yeah, I think I got really lucky, like I said, because I got in so early into Instagram. So getting followers and an audience and people to see your stuff wasn't as hard as it is now. I feel like there wasn't as many businesses that knew how to do that on Instagram. And I don't remember how I even started it on Instagram. I must have seen somebody. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And so it just happened little by little. And
Did
and
you
so I had
ever
other
want to
small
grow
companies.
into something huge, or were you just kind of like, I want to make enough?
Not so much. Not with my first business. I just felt like I was trying to make ends meet and, like I said, help with my shopping and pay for rent and stuff like that. But I always, it wasn't enough of a passion for me that I'm like, I want this to stick for a long time. It was definitely for financial gain, and that's why it didn't last. And that's what I always like to tell people is the reason, and it was, I had to at the time. So it was a great reason to start it, right? And I was making good products that I believed in, but the reason I started it wasn't enough.
It was a
to
side
have
hustle. It
last-
wasn't like
to
a
last.
passion.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
the
it's an
passion was
evolution.
lacking.
It served its purpose for the time, and
You learned about
Right.
equity.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. If I got nothing else out of it,
You're
I got a few more good
figured out
answers
that
for
a
Shark Tank.
P&L wasn't pitching and losing. It was profit and loss.
oh, see, I still hear words in business, even though I've been in the game a long time. I'm like, yeah,
Listen,
I should probably go back
you're
to business.
preaching to
school,
the choir, Kate. Like, I just always say, if people say, what about this or that? I'm like, I have people for that.
Exactly.
Just reach out to my people.
Let me get back to you on that. Totally.
So I want to back up a little bit. Where did you grow up?
Idaho.
Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
What is it with
Everyone's from
Idaho?
Idaho.
Right?
too.
Sadie, me and Sadie. Yeah, we always talk about that. And we really feel like we're a different breed. I don't know what it is.
Idaho, yeah, different breed.
what part of Idaho?
Idaho Falls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. How many kids in your family?
I'm the youngest of 6.
Really?
Baby of 6. Not surprising.
There it is.
I know.
What
This
is
is a
it?
lot
It's the
about
youngest
it.
or the oldest?
Yeah.
You middle kids are losers. I'm just kidding. You got to be scrappy when you're the youngest, especially in a
Oh,
family
you
that
got to
big.
fight for that attention. I
That's
did.
right.
Still am.
And you met Jeremy in Idaho, right? He's from Idaho?
Yeah, we met in college at Idaho State. He was just there for a semester, and I was finishing up dental hygiene school. So met at Idaho State. I finished up, and then he transferred to BYU. We dated for 2.5 years. So
Wow.
Was your dad an entrepreneur? Or like how did you
yeah.
how did you have that that hustle inside of you?
yeah, actually, my parents ask me that all the time, that question, because my dad is actually an entrepreneur. He is a contractor,
Okay.
a general contractor. So
So my dad does.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
always just like,
That is a hustle, man.
It
that's,
is a
That's
hustle.
a lot of work.
Like,
It's
he
like
earned
feast or
every penny.
famine.
yeah, like killed his body over it too.
Yep.
So I was raised like not being given everything for sure. So I, like in law school, like I didn't want to just take out student loans. I wanted to make as much as we could to pay for what we could, not just, live off
Yeah.
the government, which we probably should have a little bit more than.
How have you been able to transfer that to your kids now? Because I'm
Um,
sure your kids are probably growing up in a different spot than you did.
Yeah.
So how are you how are you helping them have that hustle inside of them? Like, do you involve them in the business? Like, what types of things do you guys
yeah.
They're your videographers. I know that.
Yes, they
Right?
are. They've had to revive me a couple times.
That would be really funny if one of them ended up being like a famous videographer. Like,
Right.
I travel the world with National Geographic shooting videos, and it all
Seriously.
started with my mom dancing.
Oh, I can totally see Ivory
In
doing
the
that.
kitchen.
She doesn't want to be part of the video. Like, there's a
She
few
wants
of
to
my
make
girls.
'em.
Yeah,
That's
a few of
cool.
my girls like to show off like I do, and then a few of them like to be behind the scenes and just laugh. So
That's awesome.
I know.
though.
Yeah, takes one of everything, right?
I mean, that's the thing. If you can learn to edit, you'll have a job for life. I mean, if you can learn
Oh.
how to put that stuff together
especially
and edit,
now where everything's going?
Yep.
for sure.
I mean,
Everybody needs one.
That would be a pretty cool story down
Yeah,
the
it would.
road where it's just like, hey, you're welcome.
Totally.
You're like, my nursing home better be top notch
That's right.
because I gave you this life.
Seriously,
I started the videos.
absolutely.
So very, very cool.
Yeah, so I would involve them, especially like in when Jeremy was in law school and I was just starting. We were like, I would wake up at 5 a.m. to sew before the kids were awake and before Jeremy had to leave. I would get them all sewn, and then my girls would help me fold them and stuff them in the bags. And they were like 4.
That's so awesome.
So and then when I did shoes, that was 2 years later, and they would go and get all the sizes for me and help me put them in the bag. So they loved it. It was like their
Wow.
little side
That's
hustle as well.
awesome.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. It was definitely a little family business.
Wow.
So when did Instagram transition from kind of business to that to more personal?
So the huge transition with my first business was called LatewithKate, which is my second daughter's name. I named it after her because middle child. I wanted to give her some attention. Like, hey, look, middle children don't get forgotten about. You're the name of my business.
The third was not happy.
It
about
also helped
that.
me remember her name.
Sienna does not need any more attention. She gets enough of that on her own. So my first business was LatewithKate, and really the transition, 3 years in, it was doing the best it's ever done. I ordered the biggest order of shoes from Mexico, and
Like, how many shoes is that? Like what were you doing?
like 3,000.
Okay,
So not a lot,
that's
but
still a lot.
it was
that's a
big
lot.
for in my garage. Like I had
For
3,000
sure.
pair of shoes in my garage.
Yeah.
Just lined,
That's a
walls
ton.
lined. Yeah, it was a lot. And I would have them come in thousands. Does that make sense? So I'd have 1,000 in my garage because that's all I had room for, and then he'd send the next 1,000 when I was getting low. So, Jeremy got in a car accident. When was that? In 2016. In 2016, and it shattered his foot. So he was on a knee scooter for 6 months, and I had just found out I was pregnant with my fourth. Sicker than a freaking dog. So we're both like on opposite ends of the couch facing each other. Like, what are we going to do? We've got 3 kids, one on the way, and we literally can't even function. So it was really in that moment, laying on the couch, I remember it and just saying, this is not my passion. This is not worth how much time I'm having to put into it. And then the need wasn't as much there because Jeremy was done with law school. He had a job. And so I just decided I was going to cold turkey it. I sold all of my shoes, didn't reorder, and I didn't post on Instagram for a year and a half, and I had like 50,000 followers. Just cold turkeyed it.
Whoa.
Nothing at all.
I didn't know that.
Nothing.
Even on your personal?
On my personal. So that's when Late with Kate was like, all right, game on. This is the fun stuff. And I was making zero money with Late with Kate at all. But that's where I was finding passion, is like making people laugh and feel comfortable, and just, yeah, I felt like that was way more important to me than making money and the side hustle that I was doing with Ivory Kate. So just gave it up right then, knowing that I was going to start something else later. Just didn't know what it was.
Isn't that interesting? Because what you mentioned earlier about passion, like, I think most people that have a passion, I think we overuse the word, but they don't, like barbecue. I was poor as hell for 5 years and almost lost the wife and kids, like, because I was so obsessed. But I wasn't doing it because I wanted money. Like, I was doing it because I loved cooking, and I just found something I was passionate about. And so it's funny how you found something that you loved, and now look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, if you find something that you love that much and you stick with it, you're going to find a way to monetize it and make a living off of it, generally. So,
and it will be longer lasting for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's fascinating, because I don't know what your engagement numbers are, but they've got to be high. And I think I'm learning a lot, because I've got to get better at my Instagram as far as like me being on there and telling that story. And you telling your story and just being Kate really is what pulls people in to view your
everything
ideas
else.
And your products and everything else. And they know they're going to be good, and they know they're going to be authentic, but it's, in a sense, they're buying you.
Absolutely.
And that's huge.
Yeah, I think especially with Instagram, you almost have to sell yourself first before you sell your product. And I didn't know that I was doing that, so I can't take a lot of credit for that. But in retrospect, that's what I can help maybe teach people.
Right.
Because for a couple of years, I was doing it just for fun. It was like an outlet
were
for
you
me.
intentional when you started on the personal side that you were going to grow it?
No
and
way.
Do all this
No
stuff
way.
and have a following and audience?
Nope. And I've never done like giveaways or anything to gain followers. I mean, now I do here and there just because it's kind of fun. But at the beginning, I actually set boundaries in my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to turn what?
Sorry.
Go.
I just didn't know where that was going. I'm going to set boundaries.
Which I never do. Ever. Boundaries not really part of my life. But I was going to set boundaries that I wasn't going to cross to make it so I was staying authentic.
Which was like what?
So just not turn it into just monetizing or just about the number of followers that I had. So I was really, really, really slow growing for a long time, relatively speaking.
So what does that mean back then? Sorry. Like, how fast were you growing? Because you see some accounts now.
Yeah, that's all relative.
Yeah, you see how they grow. It's like, what was your growth back then?
I have no idea.
Do you remember it all?
No, because it really has never been something that I like. I don't know. I really didn't focus on it.
You were just doing your thing.
No, really. And honestly, like
and that's what it feels like.
Sincerely, I hear people like, "Oh, I lost a couple followers because I did this." I'm like, "Good." Like, they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
There's so many other places for them, and you don't want them there if they don't want to be there, because they're,
you want engagement.
Yes, that's all.
That's
everything.
what Anna taught us, right?
I would rather have 10 loyal, bought-in followers than 10,000 of them there from a giveaway that don't even know what they're there for.
Right.
So I feel like I've just tried to really do it authentically and slow. And it's gotten faster over the last, I feel like the more followers you get, the easier it is to grow.
It compounds for
It does.
sure.
It
Kind of like money.
What?
It's kind of like money.
So it really is, though.
Yeah.
Everything
Totally.
compounds, right?
Yep.
Yes. But at the beginning, I just didn't try to push it. What'd you say?
I said, it's like weight. The more you gain, the more you gain.
The easier it is to gain.
Yeah.
It just comes on.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Self-deprecating humor. It's my thing.
Oh, I get it. I'm
That's
there
my
too,
thing.
for sure.
So how long before, so you said it was a couple of years that you were just doing Late with Kate, just the personal side of Instagram. When did the Lates with Kate, like your current business, when did that come to be and how did that come?
May 2018. So it's been a
you
year
have
and a half.
a date. There we go.
Oh yeah, I had a huge launch party. It was like, yeah, I was all in because like I said, when I quit my other business and in my mind, I'm like, when I start something else, it's going to be all in and it's going to be something that I want to do for a long time and that I love. So I took a couple years to just focus on it. And it was like one day. It sounds so cheesy, but it was literally one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been making everybody feel comfortable in their own skin, just who they are and what's happening in their own life for a couple years without even really trying to. Now I can do it in a tangible way with comfortable pajamas and a comfort line. So I can make people feel comfortable in all aspects of life. And it was like a light went off.
Were you a pajama person before?
Always. And I had actually posted other people's pajamas, like Gaps.
That you liked?
Yes. And did the whole swipe up thing. And I saw how many people were loving it. And I'm like, I can do this, actually. I can make them better.
You know, what you just said is really cool. I think that could almost be your tagline, like making people feel comfortable in their own skin.
That's what
it says on there.
On
Like
on the back of
I didn't
every
even
pair of
notice that.
pajamas, that's what it says is helping you feel comfortable in your own skin.
See, and it's such a cool evolution because
And
that
right here.
is totally what you do on Instagram. Like you were just taking a break and just being Kate with no ulterior motives.
Yeah.
But little did you know that you were actually building up to this.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
And it's so true how if you just do what you want to do and do what you're passionate about, this is the type of opportunity that it just shows up.
Yeah.
You know, the pajama idea is it's brilliant.
Well, thank you.
But I have to ask again, when and how did you know to make the first step? Because I think there's a lot of people who will say, oh, that would be super cool to have pajamas, or I really like that stuff. Like, when and how did you know this is how to do it? This is what I'm going to do.
Oh my gosh, everything. This like we talked about, it's so an evolution. Like from the second that I cut up that skirt in my house, that was the beginning. And that was 5 years before. So a lot of people see this and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this was a year and a Stop looking at those.
I'm trying to get past them.
I see them from the
Gosh
corner of my
dang
eye.
it. That stupid the machine was still up from the gym. Sorry.
Can't even remember what I was talking about.
The evolution of
Yeah.
your
Oh
business.
yeah, like the moment that I started cutting up that skirt, that was like the beginning of even Lates. You know what I mean? Because it was teaching me. So I cut up the skirt myself and sewed it, and then so many people wanted the shoes that I was having to hire local people. And by meeting those local people, I met people that had connections in Mexico, and that's how I found out about manufacturing, which gave me the confidence that I can find other manufacturers in different ways. And so starting that small business that I didn't even have a ton of passion for was all leading up to what I was going to be doing several years later, and I didn't even know. So it's all tiny, tiny stepping stones. It wasn't like I decided I want to do pajamas and I had them there 6 months later.
Yeah. Which is awesome because you just every day or every year you worked a little bit towards something.
Totally.
Right? It was always working. Did you have any type of like mentor or someone who maybe helped you along the way? Or do you feel like you just kind of figured stuff out? Like, do you have someone you turn to for advice outside of like Jeremy?
I mean, I feel like this Instagram community it feels really small. Like the people who run businesses on Instagram, it's bigger than it's ever been, but especially when I first started, it felt really small, and it felt like I felt like camaraderie with people that were doing it. So I think they were my mentors without even knowing it. Just seeing what they were doing and seeing their confidence is where I got my confidence to do it. So I didn't really necessarily turn to them. That's not true. I actually have a group of girls that we went on a trip with 5 girls that all had businesses on Instagram to LA to go buy fabric for all of our businesses. We had like 50 rolls of fabric that we had to put on the plane. So we spent the weekend. We didn't even know each other. Just went, bought fabric. And that was 5 years ago. And we go every single year, once or twice a year, just on different trips. Not business anymore, but those for sure were some of my mentors too. Just feeding off of each other, giving each other confidence. Like if you're down, teaching each other that, it'll come back up. So I think just the Instagram community has been my mentor, and Jeremy's not so much a mentor. He's like, he's the worst. No, he's the worst in the best way possible. He's got his own stuff. I have my own stuff, and it just works for us if we don't cross over. So
Right.
So does he not have any involvement in what you do at all?
no, he's terrible with that.
See, this makes me feel better
Yeah, no.
because I feel like I get a lot of crap for admitting that I could never work with my wife.
Yeah, no, and we always say that. There's several Instagrammers that have done so well that their husbands stay home now.
Yeah.
And me and Jeremy
Yeah.
are like, okay, that would last 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh. It would never, ever work.
No.
I'm all about the target money. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
all about like, you can make more money than me, even. I don't care. Just
Totally.
don't work with me.
Yeah. No, it works too. I feel like we fuel each other's fire by doing our own thing.
Right.
Like, oh, you're killing it. I'll try to kill it even more in a not competitive way. It's just like,
Yeah, it doesn't sound
you know.
competitive at all. No, none at all.
No, we do. We just like push each other in our own ways, even though what we do is so incredibly different.
Well, I like that because you guys are really fun to watch. I mean, you're just like every couple. Every couple has their stuff, I'm sure.
For sure.
But you know, you guys have a lot of fun. Sometimes when you work together,
Takes the fun out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It will ruin that stuff. If your yoga videos ever stopped, I'd be really sad.
They would stop if we worked together.
Exactly.
No,
Like,
they
get
would
the
for
hell away
sure.
from me right now.
Yeah.
I will not stand on your legs.
So like huge props to people who can do that, because there are several that
Yeah,
make it
no,
work.
there
but
are.
We've had quite a few come through here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know several that make it work, but
There's a lot of husbands that are holding it in.
yeah.
They're holding it in.
Whoa.
Get out of
Just
here. Get out of here with
No
that.
pun intended.
Get out.
Set me up. It was like, whoa.
No, there are some. It's funny. Like the example I always use for like a great success story for that is Todd and Susie Bullock. Hey Grill Hey, do you know her?
No.
So
don't I know?
she's a good friend of mine. She's in the barbecue world. She creates videos and recipes like daily, and huge following. Has her own show coming out on Food Network. She's from Lehigh,
Wow.
and her husband Todd, who is just a stud. He's a sweetheart. He's an accountant, like a music and video producer, and quit his job, and he does all the background stuff for her
Wow.
stuff. And man, he is like her biggest fan, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. Totally
But
can make
he's
it work.
totally needed too. Like, he's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that works really well because
He's
how
found his
great is
place
it
in
to
there.
have an accountant, right?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, because she's blowing up, and now I have an accountant and somebody with a studio that
Huge.
can produce, do all the sound and the video. And so, yeah, it's a great kind of 1-2 punch, but it does work.
Yeah.
Just not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
So with your line now, what did it start? Did it start just with pajamas? Because you kind of keep evolving even what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have so much in the works for 2020, but it did just start with pajamas. So I had a launch party in May 2018 where I opened it up to my followers. They didn't know what I was launching. I kept it a secret. It was like this secret project that I worked on for 3 months that I was kind of like teasing them with. And so this launch party, I put out 250 tickets to come and see what the hype was all about. And then we did it live for the rest of my following. And that's when I announced that I was doing pajamas. And we just had 4 prints at the time. It was like the most basic. It was like kind of like an In-N-Out burger business. You know what I mean?
Right.
You've got 4 options. That's all there is. And that's how I've actually tried to keep my business, is really, really basic and simple. So when you go on, you see everything, and it's just
Do a
easy
few
to
things
check out.
really well
Yeah.
instead
Yes.
of a lot of things mediocre.
Yeah.
So what, like, when you're thinking about pajamas, what are some things that stood out to you that you wanted as far
I
as
had
like
very
that were
specific.
important to you? With
Well,
pajamas?
my whole tagline is
Feel naked,
yes, feel naked when you
which
can't be
is-
naked.
Yeah,
So that was my whole goal.
just really soft,
Yeah.
light.
Like when I wanted my whole line. I knew I wasn't just going to do pajamas when I started it. I just didn't know what it was going to evolve into. I just knew I wanted to do comfortable clothes.
Right.
I just wanted to be the type of clothes that when you walk in to your house after work or a long day, those are the ones that you want to get into. You want
Right.
to like throw off your bra and just be like, all
Oh,
right,
girl,
here we are.
Yep,
Here
I know the feeling. I throw my bro off, and
I'm going to make you wear one all day one day just so you know
no,
how good it is
listen.
to
Don't you
throw it
remember that
off.
Seinfeld episode, the bro,
Yeah.
the man bra? Oh,
No,
man.
I don't remember that.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, there's a
So
whole
funny.
episode
Oh,
about the
that's
bro. It's
funny.
called the bro.
You guys should wear one for a day.
No,
just
thank
so you
you.
can feel how good it
Pass.
feels to throw off.
Yeah. I mean, I like. Never mind.
Well, I mean, even that, I think that's so cool that knowing you had all these other ideas, but you were okay just launching with 4, right? Like to your point, you have all these ideas on what you want to do and how you want to create it, but you didn't overcomplicate it to get going. You know, you wanted to start with something just so you could get going with it.
I think that is, and I actually got a little bit caught up in that at the very beginning of my other business. Like the more is better.
Everyone always thinks the more SKUs or styles or all this kind of
More
stuff
restaurants.
No,
just adds
Yes,
so much.
exactly
It
right.
adds so much
Yep.
complexity.
It's
no,
all
it
the
really
same.
it really does, and to your customers, like it confuses them.
Yep.
That's why I like In-N-Out. I really do. Like I go
Yep.
and it's like you don't even have to think about it. I know what I
Nope.
want.
Yep.
And so we'll change patterns and stuff, but really like the base of what we do, kind of, it won't ever change.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't get stuck with a ton of like inventory.
Right.
That people don't, you may have 2 or 3 styles that nobody wants, and then you end up just,
Yeah. Going back to the
losing on
basics
those.
anyway.
Yeah. And so you might as well just have a few really popular things, and
Yeah.
then you're never out. Because, I mean, I've noticed some things are sold out, which I think that's a good thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, you'd rather sell through everything. It's like this. Barbecue's the same way. There's some days people come and it takes 15 hours to cook a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't just whip up some more. Like, if it's out, it's out.
Right.
But
Yeah. I've
course
been
you
here.
get some
Before
people
I
that
even
get
knew
mad,
you,
but-
I would come here and they're like, we're out. I'm like, what do you mean we're out?
what do you mean you're
There's
out?
so many cows.
You
Go
don't
get
have a
one.
microwave back there?
Seriously. Like run to Smith's. I'm here for some meat.
I drove 6.5 minutes.
It's true though. When you come in here and smell that, you're like, don't tell me you're sold out.
Yeah, I know it's hard. We've done our best, but
No. It
it's-
makes you want it more though. It really does. It's like, oh, everybody loves
It's that
this. I actually want it more.
exclusivity thing.
Yes.
You don't think Apple can make enough iPhones? And
Oh,
they can.
it's so
but they
planned.
know what they're doing.
Totally. And honestly, my business has become so much that on accident as well. Like we've created this demand and then it sells out and then it takes a while to get everything back in.
Right. Well, and I think you're a humble person, and I don't think sometimes you can kind of see it in your stories. I remember when you helped we raise money for Kim White.
Let's not go there. I told you not to make me cry.
Oh, well, I'm going there.
Okay, go there.
I think it's
Go
a
there.
really sweet thing that you did, and it was cool to see even how surprised you were at how many people jumped on board with that. And that's why I mentioned your engagement. Like, people are bought into you, and I think that is a huge, huge thing. And so it says a lot about you. I'm not trying to make you cry.
Well,
I
no,
promise.
that's so nice. It really is. It means the world to me because that's really what I've tried
Right.
really hard to do for the last 5 years.
Well, and it's cool to see that even somebody that has, you've got like 110,000 followers, and
I hate to correct you, but it's 111.
oh, my bad,
I'm
my bad.
so kidding.
That's right. I
am
forgot you
so
don't. I forgot
I'm
you
so
don't count.
kidding. I am
those people
totally
that,
kidding.
No, but
111,940.
but it's cool that
Thank you. He did his research
it went
before
up
he came
74 yesterday. Fat lard. So
Must have been that dang video I posted. I lost a bunch of followers.
But it was cool, like when you got on and kind of saw the emotion. It is cool to see that even somebody with such a big following, it hasn't gone to your head, and you really are grateful for it, and you appreciate it, and you're surprised by, how many people are connecting and engaging with it, and frankly, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's just nice to see.
Oh,
It just
you're
feels
nice.
very different, and I think that's what makes your account so much fun. Is it has never ever felt manufactured. Like, it is really you. So
You're so nice. I'm
that's
gonna
cool.
come here more often when I'm feeling low. You're so nice. No, really, it really means the world for sure.
Well, I'm not blowing smoke up your butt either.
Well, thanks.
So it's,
I know you're not.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
What have you been most surprised about? As you asked that, like, what have you been most surprised? How do I ask the question? Like, from your audience, like, what has either something they've done or the fact that they're there, or like, are there moments where you're just kind of like this Kim thing, like, just like, wow, like, I really can't believe
Mind-blowing.
that
So many
Instagram
times.
can do this.
Yeah, there's not one specific time. It's so often that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get emotional. I'm not though, because I'm gonna pull it in. Because it really is. It's so overwhelming to, even when I launch something and it sells out, I'm like, who are all these people? Like, it's like I really do internalize that there are the individuals that are buying my product, that it's not just
They're not just
a
numbers.
group of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, the whole thing is just overwhelming, honestly.
Do you still try to separate the personal with the business?
Absolutely.
or are you going to try to bring them together, or do you like having them separate?
No, they'll stay separate for sure. No, I really don't. I don't cross them over too much. I do when I launch something, because I would do that anyway. I do some product on my personal account, stuff that I love, my favorite things. And obviously my product is some of my favorite things. So I'll cross it over a little bit, but no, I like to keep it separate. It's what keeps me sane. I always tell people that I'm like kind of bipolar. I have to be. Like, this is Late with Kate and this is Lates by Kate, because I have to be a businesswoman. I can't just be like a freaking moron, running a business. So behind the scenes, I
love that she still thinks she's a moron.
Oh,
it's like, will you stop it?
No,
you're brilliant.
Legit.
You really are. You're a very, very smart
Where's Jeremy
person.
when I need him?
This is.
Can you record this and send this to Jeremy?
This is no. My cousin Trey calls me the smartest dumb person he knows.
Yes.
Like it
that.
always
I like
cracks
that.
me up, because it's just like, you've just always seemed dumb to me, but you're actually really smart.
It's the best kind.
And I'm like, well, you're the dumbest smart person I know. So, but I mean, it is the whole like imposter syndrome thing that we've talked about a million times. Like, you're still defining yourself by the equity conversation.
Yeah.
When really you're just this. I gotta stop, making you feel so good. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
do.
sound
Come
like
on.
But no, I think it's such a cool story, and it's so important for people to realize, like, I can cut up one of my skanky mini skirts and make some baby shoes and start from there.
I
I'm
love
just
that.
kidding.
That's
I
where
don't know
you
if it
went
was
with
short.
That's my favorite part
I just
of
think
it.
it's funny.
Seriously.
You're like, I made 4 pairs of baby shoes. It's like, well, that skirt was small.
Like, that fabric was this.
They were stained on the other side.
But I think it's just important for people to realize, like, I still do the same thing. I'm like, what the crap? Like, I walk into the restaurant and I'm just like, I graduated. I had a 1.9 GPA the last day of high school, and an algebra teacher that loved me gave me a D, and I got to graduate. And that's the last day I went to school. But I wasn't an idiot. I just hated school.
Totally.
ADHD kid. I had A's in the classes I liked and F's and everything else. And so it's just, anybody can do it if they just have the balls to dive in.
You're 100% right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, even like coming onto this, like before we were going to record, my wife called me and she's like, I love Kate. I follow her, but I really want to know about her business. Like, she wants to know like how you did it and how you started it, because I think it's inside of a lot of people that they want to do something. And I think a lot of people get scared to take those first steps because they don't know what to do. They're scared of messing up or screwing up,
and it's a vulnerable place to be.
It's totally
like, I created this, now I'm going to put it out there for everybody to see and to judge.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing.
So I'm sure you have people talk to you about that. How do you, like, what type of advice would you give to someone like going through what you've gone through and where you're at now? Like, how can you help someone have the confidence to do something like that?
To be reckless.
Yeah. Ooh. Coming full circle.
There's an inside story to that.
Full circle.
About soap.
Seriously. So I think the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking about that is just start small. Like, I feel like you look around and it's so easy, especially on Instagram and how businesses are growing, to look around and be like, oh my gosh, they are freaking killing it. They're huge.
Like, compare
overnight.
yourself. Like, I have 5 followers. They have
huge overnight.
100,000.
Yeah,
I'm
no, it
never
doesn't
gonna
happen
get there.
overnight. Like, even I have people all the time ask me like, oh my gosh, how did you turn this? There's so many pair of pajamas. Like, go to Target and buy them for $20 or $30. Like, how did you build this business? And it really was like back to what we were talking about from the very beginning, scrappy, gaining trust in an audience and being yourself. That's really what it is. It's just starting small and not thinking too big, too fast, because you'll get burnout and you'll spend so much money on things that you don't even know if they're going to succeed yet. So if you just test them out and see what works and stay patient with yourself, I feel like that's been probably the biggest help for my business.
And don't be afraid of not knowing what you don't know, right?
Well, yeah.
That's the
Everyone,
other
I had no
everyone's
idea I was
faking
gonna
it.
do-
Everyone's faking it.
Let's be real.
Every wife, everyone is faking it.
Totally. Yeah. Everyone's faking it if they know what equity means. Okay? Back off.
Listen,
I'm going to do it on the streets of
equity
like,
is
what they
not
do in New York.
horseback riding.
Go ask them.
Go ask people around the mall if they know
You
what
would be
equity means.
shocked. Listen, you'll feel so much better about yourself.
I should do that.
No,
Do you
no,
know how many
no.
people
Go to
don't
college.
know what
no,
that
go
is?
to like BYU
Yeah.
and go ask all these people.
Well, it's like that show, Are You Smarter Than a Sixth Grader? Remember
Totally.
that?
Yes.
Like, we would all get worked.
Who signs up for that?
idiots.
Totally.
It-
You are
it-
not
it-
smarter than a sixth grader by even going on that show.
Yeah.
Period.
You just
gonna
prove
make
that
your-
you're dumber
Totally.
than a sixth grader for signing up.
Totally.
No, it's very true. I love those. Like, I love anytime they go to colleges or to malls and ask
I know.
basic questions, and it's crazy how many people, and that's what we've always said. Like in school, we need to learn about money and credit and
Yeah.
and the business
How the
side of
world
things.
works.
Yeah.
Not
they
all
don't
these
teach any of
old,
that.
stale stories.
Right? That are most of them are total lies.
Totally.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure.
Back to your question, though, I feel like something that's super important is you cannot go into a business with numbers as your main focus,
Right.
whether it's money or whether it's followers or monetary gain. You really can't do that because it won't be lasting. You'll get swept up by the next person who's doing a similar thing with more passion.
What is that, Cam? What's that law? Where's the book coming in?
The Go-Giver.
There you go.
Love The Go-Giver. Have you
So-
ever read The
No, I
Go-Giver?
should.
I have
Jeremy's
a
like
copy for you.
Okay.
It's incredible, and the author was actually on the podcast.
Really?
I was
Yeah.
out of town, so
I got to
Andrew
interview him.
got
So
to
it's
do
my
it.
favorite book of all
Nice.
time. When I got to interview him, it was so cool.
That's awesome.
But the
Bob
law
Berg.
is you provide value first. So how can I make money is the wrong first question. It's not a bad question, the wrong
Right.
first question.
Right.
The first question is how do I provide value and
Love
how do I
that.
do it consistently? Because then the money will always follow. It always will. It's a true principle.
Totally. That's exactly what happened with Late with Kate. I started it with no intentions of anything, built trust because of just being, who I was, sharing my life and sharing my faults and not trying to be like, and I'm not saying pretty pictures are bad. I'm just saying I was just trying to show behind the scenes of my life.
Everyone's sick of them. Let's
Yeah,
say what
right?
it is.
I mean, seriously,
let's
though,
say
come
what
on,
it is.
guys. So I was like almost gaining trust for a business I didn't even know I was going to create later on. So I think just patience and
Well, you weren't even thinking about it.
Not
Like
even
that,
thinking about it.
And that's the trick, right? It's kind of like Abby Ayers.
oh
You know,
yeah,
Like
yeah,
she had 1,500 followers, and it was just kind of her way to vent and outlet, every day.
totally.
And then she did the hair video,
Game over.
and that was it. She just, that's why it looked overnight, but really it wasn't anything close to overnight.
No.
It took a long time. And
Right.
so she was just doing her thing, just like you were.
Yeah.
And it just kind of evolved into what it evolved to. And I think that that's the most important thing to remember is if you try to press down the gas because you want to get somewhere faster, it's not going to happen.
No, you're gonna
You've
burn
just
out
gotta
too
stay.
quick.
You've just got to be yourself and do your thing. And,
Yeah.
and it will evolve what it evolves into.
And you really can't look around because somebody will always be doing something more and better.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. It's
I've
like
heard-
Susan with the it's never too late. Like
It's never too late.
It's never too late to start. Even though if you want to make pajamas or if you want to make barbecue or whatever, like
Totally.
there's room for it.
Absolutely.
And if you want to do it, do it.
Yep.
Don't worry about what other people are doing. Like do it the way you want to do it, and there'll be an audience for it.
Totally.
Well, it's a quote. It's like if you're on the road, there's always someone ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't
It
just
do-
do
it
it because
doesn't
someone
matter.
else is doing it.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
in that same breath, don't just do it because you see
Yes,
somebody else
there's a
doing
lot
it.
of that too.
Because again, like
You
you'll
can't
get
copy
burnout.
it. It's
no.
not real.
Mm-mm.
So on that note, how much time do you spend like on your personal account, like thinking of content? Like, do you like strategically plan stuff out?
No. That's a hard no. That's probably one of my biggest faults, honestly, even in business, is I really like to do it's not sporadic. What's the word? Like last
Authentic?
minute. What's the word for Yes, spontaneous. I really like to work spontaneously, and I think people relate to that.
Right.
You can't always do that with business.
Right.
Like I need to have a schedule, which is why I have an assistant sometimes,
Right.
which has changed my life. And that's only been in the last 3 or 4 months that I hired somebody because
That's what I
because I'm
need.
so unorganized.
Yeah.
But not unorganized as in I can't be organized. I just like to function unorganized.
Yeah.
Hey, I can relate.
Really though.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You either have time or money. You can do
and
it
no, I'm
yourself,
not
or
saying
you
my
can pay
house is
someone else
yes,
to do it.
exactly.
No, your house is in
It's
great
a-
shape.
it's
Yeah,
just
no,
a-
I've been in there.
Jeremy, yeah, I don't have a choice. No, in a good way.
Lawyers.
He is like clean freak fanatic, which is a good thing.
It's not a bad thing. I
No,
didn't
it
even
is.
know he was a lawyer. Did you know that?
Well, he doesn't talk about it much.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is, and he never talks about it. He
Right.
is actually one
So
of
is
the
that
most
his
humble
job
people.
with
No,
that company?
he'll never practice law.
Really?
Yeah, he took and passed the bar in Utah, so he could, but he never has wanted to.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he'll never really.
I mean, it's never a bad thing to have, though, right?
Oh, he wouldn't have the job that he has now without it, though.
Wow.
That's how he got it. So,
You should be a sports agent.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
he would love it more than anything.
Oh, he would love it.
He would.
And he's got a
die.
law degree. That's what you need.
He keeps saying, "Do you think it's too late for me to like
Heck,
walk on
it's
to BYU?"
never too late.
To
Is
walk
he
on-
listening
Right.
to the podcast? It's never too late.
It's never
To
too
walk
late.
on to what?
BYU.
Oh, my gosh.
No, so funny thing. A guy I used to work with, his mother-in-law, I don't know, when she was done having kids. I mean, so her kids were late teens and early 20s. She walked onto the local community college basketball team and made
Holy
it.
crap.
Come on.
And she played
Come on.
collegiate basketball
That's
after having, I think she had 4 kids.
Tell him to go walk
There's
on.
been a lot of stories about. There was that
That's
old
pretty
man
cool.
That
field
is
goal
awesome.
kicker in junior college. He
Yeah.
was like 55.
It's pretty awesome.
That's
And,
so cool.
Yeah.
What?
Could boot like 50-yard field goals
Oh my.
and went and finished his degree playing ball.
Yes.
So like, how do you
Totally
then think of stuff? I mean, like, I'm thinking of the video when you got your panic attack, when you shoved your hands and your
Oh.
legs into a sweater and covered your face in the mask. And I don't know what you were doing, hopping or crawling.
I don't know what I was doing. Trying to survive, trying to breathe and not pass out. Can you imagine if the paramedics would have come? Like, just imagine. I'm in this. I have got my legs and arms in a sweater hole, and my 7-year-old is videoing me. I would have lost my kids that night. For not even.
I mean, how do you even think of that? Are you
Question.
just like, what should we do tonight, girls? And they're like, stick yourself in a sweater.
See, that's what I want to. I want to be there when you're trying out 4 or 5 different things.
Oh, I have
Uh-huh.
my really close friends will call me right after. Like, I'll usually send them those videos first to proof.
Can we get on?
I need
Can I
proof.
get on the beta,
Yes.
the
Yeah, we
beta,
wanna be
the
beta
beta list,
testers.
please?
My OBGYN story I sent to like 6 people before I posted it because it was like super borderline. It was really borderline. And I sent it to my mom and she's like, no way.
And that's when you knew it was perfect.
Yes, I did. In that moment, I'm like, I've got a golden nugget right here. And it was my most viewed video by like 3 times. Wow. So, no, yeah. So I send them out to my friends and my friends will be like, Jeremy's out of town. I can tell. Do you need supervision? I'm like, no, this is when my best material comes out.
It's probably good that your kids are like. So Sean and Nicole shot a video here like
Oh, yeah. It's
3 or
hilarious.
4 weeks ago, and I'm like, now I know them well enough because they did one at my house too, and I didn't know them quite well enough to. The one that they did with Abby cutting his hair.
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah,
at
yeah.
my house. I didn't quite know him well enough to watch it, like be in there,
Oh, okay.
or to feel like I could just be in there.
Yeah.
This time I was like,
In
"You're
it.
at my restaurant. I know you guys well. Like, I'm gonna come watch." So I'm watching him do it, and I'm just like,
I don't even know how he comes up with
and
this
he-
stuff.
yeah. And Sean kind of looks at me like, "Oh, didn't know I had an audience." I'm like, "Okay, I'll leave."
Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
So that's why I'm saying with your kid, it's probably really good that your kids video it because they're just like, "Oh, my mom is nuts."
They literally don't even laugh.
They don't laugh
Like
at all.
Ivory was
right?
over there like, oh, she did laugh on that one.
We would
She
die
did laugh on the
laughing.
sweatshirt one.
Like your phone would just be shaking if anybody else.
I know I've got a
videoed
good one
that.
though if I can make Jeremy laugh. Like that just literally it's all I want for Christmas.
That's
is
really
to make
funny.
Jeremy laugh and it only happens every now and
It
then.
is
so.
true. Like I would.
What does he think about it? Like, what does he think about your videos? Is he just like, what the crap are you doing?
Yeah, he never even he never really even says anything. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's funny."
Jeremy,
I think
dude,
it's
he's a witty dude. The other day
He's
when
like
you guys
dry
did,
witty.
he is like
Yeah.
when you guys did your Q&A on the way to Idaho,
Oh yeah.
and you're just like, "What's our song, babe?" He didn't even blink. He goes, "Oh, I'll Make Love to You" by Boyz II Men.
In high school, in college, like before we were married, he said that was what our song was.
That
I'm
was
like,
so funny.
That was
gosh.
a really funny thing.
Gosh, that was
Because
so
we
funny.
also, not going to bring it up again,
What?
that was the funny part too.
what?
When you're like, we can't talk about this with the kids behind us. And he was like, oh, yes, we can.
Oh yeah, the Gap
goes all in.
The Gap dressing
Go
room. You're like,
Gap
it was
dressing
Old
room.
Navy.
I think it was Gap too. I think he was right. The more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, we're way more classy than Old Navy. I'm kidding. I'm joking. They're
It's
owned
the
by the
same
same
company.
company.
Same size dressing
No.
rooms. I
No, Old
don't
Navy's
know.
are
I've
bigger.
never been
That's
in
why I
there.
thought that, but we didn't meet much room.
As long as it doesn't have a curtain, right?
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh man, no, I can't.
So what kind of things are kind of exciting? What's coming up for you that you're excited about?
Late Nights by Kate.
Like
Can't-
with
When are you gonna
business
tell people?
or with
When are you going to tell people?
like
Jeremy-
which stores are we wanting to hit?
Jeremy's getting home off a trip tonight. Now with business.
It's going to be a fun little Saturday.
yeah, we have by next Christmas. Our goal is to have pajamas for the whole family.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're gearing up
Now,
for.
when you say the whole family, yeah, there's some families that are bigger than other families. Kate,
I
I
sell
just
up
want
to,
one
I sell
company
up
to
to a
make
3X.
one thing. 3X. I'm not in 8th grade, Kate. Okay, jeez.
They run big.
I just want one company
They
to say,
run
you know
big.
what? We're gonna make one for you.
I'm not an eighth
That happened once.
Best
That
comment of
Headley and Bennett, they're a fancy apron company in LA. They made me a few aprons. Changed my life
nice,
forever.
nice.
They are huge. There's a funny picture on
They
my
are.
Instagram standing next to the girl that designs them. She's like this tall, and she's got like a measuring tape like up against my chest or shoulders, and she's like fully extended like this. So just once, I just want one pair of jammies. Maybe you'll be the first.
You might be the first. Next Christmas, 2020
awesome.
might be your Christmas
that
from
would
Lates
be-
by Kate.
I get my own jam set.
Yes.
You'll make the website.
Oh, I will totally make the website with the link to DXL, the Big and Tall store.
What's DXL?
Destination XL, the
No.
largest Big and Tall store in America.
Jeremy's 5'9". I wouldn't know.
I'm just opening it up to a whole new category
Totally,
of customers.
for sure.
And we spend big money. We're the guys that spend extra to sit in first class, you know.
I'm in
'cause
the
that's
wrong
where we
business.
fit.
I'm in the wrong business.
T-shirts are like $55, but hey, it's worth the extra material. I'll shut up. No, so what is coming up? Any other thing? I mean, we got a little hint earlier about something that's about to happen, which is really exciting.
Yeah,
but
that's what we are gearing up for. Is some
life to get really crazy.
The unknown. That's really what it is. We're just kind of
Right.
preparing for the unknown, which is really scary. And
I can only
really
think
fun.
of Into the Unknown right now
Into
because
the
of
Unknown.
Frozen 2.
Oh gosh, the propaganda movie.
It's
About
so
Mother
hard for me
Earth.
not to belt it out right now, but especially this microphone right here. So tempting. Could you
That
guys
would be
leave?
so
Could you
late
guys
with
actually
Kate,
leave for
though.
a minute?
That would be
I need a minute.
awesome.
Where's Ivory when I need her?
Yeah, I'll leave the phone set up right here.
Totally.
Very cool. So any new things or any things that you're the ones that is coming up with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. No, we kind of have categories that we want to branch into, and we have lots of samples that we've tested, and we're going to do just everything to do with nighttime routine is kind of what we're thinking. So night creams for your lips and bath,
really
bath
cool.
stuff and
Because
sheets.
you got slippers and towels and all that kind of stuff already. So
Yeah. Sheets, robes. We have so many products. We're just trying to keep it really organized. Which is not,
You have people for
not
that.
my idea. Yeah,
You have people
exactly.
for
I've
that.
got people telling me I need to keep it organized. So just trying to grow it really slow and not overwhelm customers.
I like
with
your
too much.
deals too. We haven't talked about that.
Deals.
You post deals all the time.
Oh, that is actually one of my
You
favorite
helped
things.
me with Christmas so much already. I've bought like
Good.
3 things
Oh, I got
off
something
of
from
your
one of your
stories.
stuff, too.
Good. That is actually probably one of my favorite things about my personal account is I don't do sponsored posts. I shouldn't say don't, but like
I
once a
wondered
year.
if those were sponsored or not, and I don't care
No.
if they are because they're good deals.
Oh yeah, no, and I have nothing bad to say about sponsored posts. It's just kind of one of the boundaries, if you will,
Right, yeah.
that I've put on myself,
It's the
just
way
because.
you keep it organic.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll do affiliate programs, which is kind of similar because I'll make a cut.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just feel personally better about it for me.
Well, I think people know you well enough to know that even if you do, I want people to make money off of what they do,
Yes.
as long as it's something that you believe in.
Totally,
right?
yes. And I only make money from those affiliate programs if the company makes money.
Yep.
Rather than just a sponsored post and I get a
Right.
flat
and
rate.
it's stuff you like.
And I usually am the one that reaches out to them.
Right. Okay.
Like I'll see something and I'll try it and be like, okay, I can help you. You can help me. And I love it.
That reminds me of something. I talked to somebody that you reached out to the other day, and they have kind of the same philosophy. Like they're trying not to like pay people or do things
Yeah.
to get their product out. But I was talking about you to them, and they're like, see, I've got to change my approach with that because she kind of has the same issue with Instagram accounts that I do, like where we kind of, it's like guilty until proven innocent. Like,
Right.
oh,
No,
they're
yeah,
so full of
yeah.
themselves and whatever. And so she was just kind of looking at things in a cynical view.
Yeah.
And I brought up that you were coming on the podcast, and it was just kind of like, oh, is she pretty cool? I'm like, oh, You have no idea.
You're
she
nice.
is the coolest.
You're the best.
She goes, she reached out about the product, and I need to call her because, she would be awesome.
What product was it? You're keeping it a
I
secret.
know who you're talking about.
Is this a secret?
I don't know if I should say
Yeah,
it.
say it. What is it?
Should I say it on the podcast? No, and I told her, I was
how
like, listen,
shady it can be.
influencers are huge, but you just
Also,
need
it
to
can be a
find the
scam,
one.
too.
Yeah, you just need to find the ones that match. And what's funny is what she was talking about is exactly how you are. Like, you guys are just authentic, organic. You don't want anything to be manufacturers or fabricated. It's like you want to try it. If you like it, you're going to talk about it.
Totally.
And that's totally different. And so
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good thing. And so because you would be amazing. Well, thanks for coming. This has been so
thanks
much
so
fun.
much, you guys. It was so
I'm
fun.
going to try to. We really do need to try to get you and Jeremy on here together.
He'd take it next level for
That
sure.
would be so much fun. Maybe when you launch the Late Nights by Kate,
Oh yeah.
we'll do a late night version
Yes.
of the Nitty Gritty.
I like it. The later it gets, the
I'll
more
lower my
inappropriate we
voice
get.
for the
so.
whole entire interview.
You should really be like
We have
900
Kate
numbers.
and Jeremy here. It's 11:45 p.m. Sorry,
I won't
I'll
be
stop.
there. I'll be
Yeah,
asleep.
he'll be
Yeah,
asleep.
for sure.
Grandpa Andrew will be asleep at 9:30 unless there's a Jazz game on.
You
But
should
no,
bring back 900 numbers with that voice of yours.
are you lonely? Are you watching USA Network at 1:45 in the morning? I'm here for you.
See?
Yeah, see, I get tons
Totally.
of calls.
Yes.
Drink some perk and give me a call.
Drink some perk and give me a call.
Okay,
Love it.
You're the best.
You're the
Thanks.
best.
We
No,
had
thanks
so
so
much
much, you
fun
guys.
with you.
That was
You're
awesome.
amazing.
You're
Everybody
amazing.
follow Late with Kate.
You're the best.
Everyone follow us.
Go buy a
Yes.
bunch of pajamas.
Buy some jammies as soon as they come out in your size. And
4X coming soon.
Sleep naked.
All right.
Right?
Thanks, you
You're
guys.
awesome.
You're
See ya.
the best.